On today's episode, number 118, we feature Cassandra P., and she happens to be co-host Julie's daughter. Cassandra grew up surrounded by recovery without ever thinking it would become her story. She was the sports girl, the competitive overachiever who always had a job, raised by a mom who got sober cold turkey while pregnant, and navigated single motherhood after prison. In part 1, Cassandra takes us through a blessed childhood, the slow drift into drinking and using, and the moment she realized that coming from 2 addictive parents wasn't something love and structure could protect her from forever. Take a listen.
Hello, and welcome to the Real Recovery Podcast. I'm Julie, your co-host, on this journey of healing and transformation. Together with my co-host, Peter, we dive into the heart of recovery, sharing stories that resonate with courage and inspiration.
That's right, Julie. Each episode is a new chapter in this vast narrative of recovery, and we're honored to bring them to you. But keep in mind, the perspectives you'll hear are for informational purposes only and may not reflect the views of the podcast or our partners.
Indeed, while these conversations can be a powerful part of your recovery toolkit, they are not substitute for professional medical advice. We encourage you to seek guidance from your healthcare provider for any treatment-related decisions.
And if you're facing an immediate crisis, or if you just need to talk to someone who understands, don't hesitate to call the Recovery Crisis Line at 503-223-8569. The number is also on our website. Help is available 24/7.
Now let's begin our episode
Of recovery, real recovery.
Welcome to the Real Recovery Podcast. This is Julie.
This is, guess who? Peter. Welcome, everybody.
Peter's full of it tonight. I just want to
I had some coffee earlier, I'll admit, so I'm a little bit hyped up on caffeine.
I'm a little jealous. I'm not.
I had to be, because with this new job study thing I'm doing, I have to get up so freaking early. And I know for you, Julie, that's not early at all, but for me, it is so early.
I've heard on some of your previous podcasts, my mom's like, if you need someone to call in the morning, don't call Peter. Peter is not a morning person.
Exactly.
And that's me too.
And who is this? Who is this mystery voice?
I don't know this person.
My name is Cassandra. Thank you guys for having me.
Welcome.
I'm really grateful that you came, to be honest with you. I offered, just for the audience to know, not to be here and to have Peter record this show by himself that made you feel uncomfortable. And you said no, you wanted me here, and I'm super grateful.
And for those who don't know, why would it make you uncomfortable?
It doesn't make me uncomfortable, but I didn't want it to make her
Or make
uncomfortable.
Cassandra uncomfortable.
You know, sharing your story here is really personal. The stories we hear, I've seen grown men cry sitting on
Right.
the couch, seriously, in a way that's very touching. And this is my child.
There you go.
My only child.
Mother, daughter.
My favorite child. Literally, and I don't want to cry, but my favorite person in the whole world. There is no person I love more than you.
Thanks.
And I know when my sponsor said that to me, it was everything, but it's been like that. I've known you longer than anyone. I just want to put that out there.
I really wanted you here because I've listened to a lot of podcast episodes, and I've listened to a lot of their childhoods especially. And one of the terms that gets used a lot in this podcast is God shots, what God presents itself for you. And before I even gave myself to God, I just feel like I'm blessed and he's given me a lot of things without me even asking or giving him anything in
Yeah.
return. And I listen to other people's childhoods, and some of them have really made me emotional because I feel so blessed and I am so humbled that I didn't go through some of these childhood traumas
Yeah.
that some of your other guests have been through.
I'm glad. Like, I'm super glad because you say you're blessed and you're my biggest blessing. I don't know. I tell you this all the time, and I've told you this for years. I don't know where my life would have ended up had I not had you. Because I was a hot mess, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys just can go back and forth and just take us back to, like, you can
Yeah.
take us back to where you were, Julie, and then when Cassandra came into the world and how things changed, and then you can pick it up. Give us your perspective. I love to get the mother-daughter or the child-parent
So funny story. We were
view.
just talking about Paranoia Park, right? Cassandra's dad, not always the brightest, okay? One of the coolest, but not always the brightest. And Michael was going to go sell drugs at Paranoia Park. And I'm like, and he had this leather jacket on, and it's 89 degrees. And I'm like, you look stupid. And I said, you look like a drug dealer. Why would you do that? You don't have to. And he was like, I'm just going to go hang out for a while and whatnot. It was his thing. And I was like, okay, you look crazy, and it's too hot out to wear a leather jacket. And truly, the police must have thought so too, because he got arrested and he had a parole violation. And the only reason I say that is because it's 3 or 4 weeks later, and I go to the doctor's and I find out I'm pregnant. I went there to test to see if I was, and I couldn't frickin' believe it, right? I had never had sex with a dude without a condom. Really? Like, how does that happen, right? I was overwhelmed. And when I went to the doctor's office, the doctor truly said, if you're going to have this baby, you either need to terminate your pregnancy or stop doing drugs. And at that time, I didn't look too great. And I didn't know I was pregnant either. And so when he told me I was pregnant, I was actually kind of happy. And I was surprised because I didn't have any plans on having children at all. 0. But I was happy. And so because I was happy, it was just a natural reaction. I was like, okay. And then I was like, if you can't stop using drugs for the baby, then,
Yeah.
And so I did. And on my own at that time, I didn't have a recovery plan, a sobriety plan. I didn't know anybody in recovery. Right. And so I went back 2 months later. I'd gained 35 pounds in 2 months. I was 145 pounds. And I thought I looked good. I looked disgusting. Seriously, my head doesn't fit on a skinny body. I look like a bobblehead. I know. And then
That was the drugs that did that.
yeah. And my face was a hot mess. My skin is beautiful, right? And it wasn't at all. I didn't think so. But I went back and he said, oh my God, you look so beautiful. That's what he told me. And
This is the doctor.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he said, I can tell what decision you made. And
That's cool.
I was worried I was going to fuck up for real. And Cassandra's dad had given me this $2,000 bike. And it's Diamondback bike. And so I sold it to have a month's rent and not do anything illegal. And I sold some things to pay my rent. And this is a funny story and just so wrong, but my mother didn't want me to have the baby. She didn't think I could handle it and I was mature enough. And she might have been right. But she said she would give me the money for an abortion. So I had no intentions of getting abortion at this time. I'm drug-free, but I needed the money to pay my rent because I'm doing the right thing, right? I'm not selling drugs. I'm not fucking around. I'm not in the escort service, right? And so I go to an appointment at Lovejoy Clinic where they have abortions. And they said, you're so far along. It would take two appointments and all this stuff, and it would cost this much money. So my mother gave me the money.
Wow.
And I didn't talk to her again the rest of my pregnancy, and I went and paid my rent for 2 more months.
Oh, wow.
And in that time, I got into a program at the YMCA, and I stayed there throughout my pregnancy. I got an apartment through the housing program maybe 9 days before you were born. I slept on the floor 9 months pregnant, getting my furniture in there.
Wow.
Crazy. True story. And my mother, she comes to see me in the hospital. And then I'm doing the right thing still, right? and I'm getting ready to graduate from college. And she said, best lie you ever told.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh
That
my gosh.
crazy shit. Isn't that crazy?
So she didn't see you the whole time you were.
Oh, no, I stayed away. I was like,
You can't really hide it.
she was,
at some
she
point.
didn't want me. It was crazy because we didn't talk that much at that time anyway. And yeah. And I had asked her to help me with my rent. And she said, no, you shouldn't have this baby. I'll help you. And so I did it her way.
Wow.
You know, and with the
That's
craziest other
amazing.
crazy thing is that they did an ultrasound while I was there, right? And so they're doing an ultrasound, and I'm so excited to see the baby and the heartbeat. It's like 3, almost 4 months. It was like the last, yeah, it was crazy. And so I'm walking out of that appointment and I'm smiling. I am smiling so big, and I gotta go. So she's running the bar at the Gypsy on Northwest 21st, and the Lovejoy Clinic is on Northwest 23rd. So I got to walk from one to the other to get the money for the second appointment, right? And I'm smiling the whole way there, and I got to act sad to get this money or whatever. It was like an Academy Award performance. Yeah. And I was surprised she came to see me at the hospital. But I was, again, 10 blocks from her bar because I had her at
Okay, yeah.
Good Samaritan was the only hospital that would take my insurance that wasn't OHSU. And I heard at OHSU, because it's a learning hospital, that they poked the babies a lot. And I was like, you're not poking my baby. Seriously. It was crazy. And I think I was paranoid as well from the moment she was born, because they kept her in the nursery because I had a cesarean. And they said, you can't have her in your room until you can walk. And I pushed this button for whatever drugs they gave you. And I walked down to the nursery and I was like, bring my baby to the room.
Aww.
And then they were like, is it okay if we take her? And I was like, when are you bringing her back? I was like schizo from that point on. Really. True story.
Bet.
Yeah.
Now, Mike, right?
Was in prison.
Okay, so he wasn't involved at all.
He had to, we called the prison to let him know she was born. And he was ecstatic. Michael was happy about Cassandra from the second of conception because he had no other children. He didn't even think that was possible. But we messed around when he got out of treatment, so I think that's how that happened. It was a one-off, okay? A really big one-off. Yeah, and no, he came home when she was about 4 months. And to be honest with you, if he hadn't come home at that time, he went to DePaul Treatment Center, from prison to DePaul. And they had just built a child center.
Oh.
And it wasn't open yet. But they let him watch her 4 hours on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays so I could finish college.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so there was a lady there, this counselor lady, the family counselor, and her and Mike in this whole brand new center.
That's so
How does that work out?
Yeah, right?
And I was able to...
Again, you said God shots, right?
Yeah, odd or God, right? As
Yeah.
Catherine would say. But he watched her for 3 months. I had 1 term left, and he watched her for those 3 months while I graduated.
How cool is that?
We were all together July 13th of 1993. So you were one point whatever. And they were... My mother, Michael, and Cassandra were at my graduation.
Oh, how cool.
It
Do you
was.
remember any of that, or were you too young? Because I don't remember
Too
my
young.
youth.
She doesn't
very much
remember
either.
me going to prison, which I'm blessed. She was young. So I'm really grateful for that.
What is it you said? She says, are you going away for
Little
long-
time or big time?
Or big time, that's what it was.
And I don't remember that.
Yeah,
So-
I would leave to go to work and she would grill me. And she would be like, are you leaving for little time or big time? And I'd be like, little time. I'll be back tonight. And she'd be like, okay, little time.
Wow.
And yeah, and it took a while of coming home every day for you to get past that. So you did remember when I first got home. Yeah.
But you don't remember it now.
She didn't remember it by She didn't remember it very long. 2, you don't really remember a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I was there from that point on. I had to do 30 days at the transition out of prison program at the Y again. I'm back at the Y on a different floor. Okay.
jeez.
The lockdown floor. But I got a job the second day I was out. I went to the Mallory Hotel and I folded towels
That's
in
where
the
you did the towel
basement.
folding.
I did it. People say you can't get a job. How bad do you want a job?
Right.
And then I went to my old landlord, the one I had when I got arrested. She had a new apartment complex. And she told me, if you ever need me. And I went there and she got me an apartment. She even gave us our Christmas tree. I got out in October. We had the apartment by December 1st. And she's like, do you have a Christmas tree? And I was like, no. She's like, let me bring you one. That was that lady Barbie that we saw that day. And I was like, whoa. Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Pat.
No, that was our other one. But yeah, crazy, crazy. So that is how it came to fruition. And after leaving and going to prison, I just didn't want you to have a childhood like me. And it was just my focus. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. And I want you to know I was super happy. Going to basketball games and softball and Girl Scouts and her having a regular life was everything. And it was crazy because Cassandra grew up in a bougie school. And we had an apartment surrounded by, $500,000, $1 million houses?
Wow.
Yeah. And not every parent would go to, remember? Leslie. She had the richest parents of all, and they never showed up at her games. And at that time, I never worked overtime, so I could go to everything.
And her mom was a stay-at-home mom.
And didn't go to the games.
No.
Wow.
I could remember, because I played with Leslie 3 out of 4 seasons. And her dad worked full-time, and he was our coach for a while.
For 4th grade.
Oh.
Yeah. But you don't think about those things when you're young. I think once you get older, you look back.
Yes.
And you really appreciate those things. But so I took those things for granted. Your parents are supposed to show up. Your mom's supposed to show up. It's just like a kind of given thing.
Right.
But then you look at someone else go through it when, like I said, she had 2 brothers and $1 million house. Her dad worked. Her mom stayed at home full time. And I can only remember her probably going to 2 games.
Wow.
Whereas my mom's a single mother working, literally took the shift that she did at work so she could be home by the time to go to pick me up from practice, to go to my games. She had a set schedule so that she could be there for all of those things after school, so I didn't go without.
I didn't realize what a blessing that was, either my schedule, right? Because I worked really hard after that. But it was a huge blessing. Who gets to work 5 to 1:30 or 6 to 2:30? And yeah. And my mom went to 1 game my entire life. I never saw my dad at any games, right? And
so I know your history, and those who've listened probably, but do you think that is what drove you to be so involved in Cassandra's life, was what you experienced as a child?
Absolutely. And I'll tell you the other thing. And I didn't know this. I didn't know this to IOP. Okay. I didn't know that her whole life I had this fear inside of me. I made a lot of decisions. She used to get on me. She'd be like, why you got to meet me at the bus stop every day? I'm the biggest kid. And I'm like, nothing happens to you, right? And then she would ask me, she would really get upset sometimes and say, why can't I spend the night over other people's house? And I'd be like, our house is really clean and nice. They can come here. And I didn't really allow it.
Because deep down, which you didn't know until
I didn't
IOP.
allow her to go. It had to be a controlled environment in my brain. I knew the 2 Girl Scout leaders were amazing. She could do anything with the Girl Scouts. And then her daycare provider, which she had from 6 to 14 and is still in our life. Other than that, Yeah, you weren't spending that. And it got the same way. Her dad was sober from the time she was 3 until 10. So we'd go to games together as parents. I never kept Cassandra for him. But as things were starting to change, then it was, she can't spend the night and you can take her for the day. Mm-hmm. And then I also, one incident, and she knows this one incident at his house, it was a bad scene. And I had him in court 7 days later, and she couldn't visit him there again because it wasn't a good atmosphere. She could only visit at her grandmother's house with him. So I was super over, like...
Super protective. Yeah.
Super structured, super over, just didn't want anything to happen to her. Yeah. You know how many girls get touched? Yeah.
Yeah. And you didn't understand because you didn't know.
I didn't understand.
And you didn't. Yeah. None of you understood.
Yeah.
So to you, it was like, gosh, Mom, let me do something here.
I never thought about it though, Peter, because I was so busy with her. I never thought about that stuff ever. Yeah. It didn't cross my mind. It was like work. What game do we go? We had a calendar in 3 different colors for Girl Scouts basketball. Then there's basketball. What do you call those things where you had to go?
The fundraisers?
No, those I hated. No, what do you call it? Open court when it wasn't season and you had to go to those.
Yeah.
But those would overlap with water polo or sometimes softball. It was insane, bro. But I never thought about those things ever.
Wow.
Ever.
Yeah.
It was a blessing.
Yeah.
But so it was really subconscious. I didn't even know I was doing it. I apologized to her when I was going through IOP. And I was like, I get it now. I understand why, but there was a reason. And I hadn't told her about any of that either.
But even before she apologized, I came to her. We've talked about it a couple times. I've thanked her. Like you're talking about when you're young, you don't see it until you're older. When you're in it, you're like, why does this person get to stay out until 12 o'clock and have a 12 o'clock curfew? Why do I have to be home at 9? Why does get to stay over at this person's house and I can't? But when you're older and like I've had so many friends, so many of my girlfriends that have been inappropriately touched without their permission. And it makes me really sad because I just feel like that would rip a part of your soul that you can't get back because it's something that was taken away from you that you didn't deserve or you didn't ask for that. So because my mom was so controlling, I was never in a bad place at a bad time or the wrong place at the wrong time. I wasn't one of those. I was never into boys. I was so into sports and Girl Scouts and everything. So boys were not on my mind at all. But I would never, even if it was, I would never be one of those kids that can say, I'm going over to my girlfriend's house and go and sneak over to a boy's house. That would never be able to happen.
She didn't have sex in high school. I just want to say. It's like, I feel as a single parent, that's like your biggest accomplishment. And I didn't have sex in high school, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have even fathomed getting pregnant. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff, isn't that?
It is. And also thinking back to some of the guests we've had and then your own story, Julie, what they, like you talked about, you were talking about what they went through, the inappropriate things that happened to them and how we can see the thread looking back now, how that affected their lives in such a horrible, profound way.
Yeah.
Is it the reason why I'm good being by myself? Mind you, my chosen family is fucking amazing, okay? Right. But I'm so independent. And is that because I don't trust? And there are some truths to that. And I think also, I had a lot of wrong in everything I've done, okay? I own my part. But I didn't have any wrong in that. When you're 5, you don't have no wrong.
Right.
And not having parents from 6 months to 11, like just, that's the other reason we didn't change schools, okay? Because we didn't change schools. We didn't change basketball teams. We didn't change Girl Scouts. Like, I was obsessed, really, but in a good way.
Yeah.
I wish somebody would have been obsessed with me. But if that would have happened, I wouldn't have had Cassandra, right?
You know,
I wouldn't have been trying to buy weed in the
whether
park
they
and
say
met her
there's no
dad.
acts in the universe or
It
something like
is
that.
the best thing. It is the best thing. My mom said the same thing, despite all of our opportunities. My mom said the day before she passed, she said, "I know the best thing we've ever done." And I was like, and she's like, Cassandra. So it all came in full circle. And my mom was amazing to Cassandra. No complaints.
So I'm interested in your perspective, where your memories start, what your perspective was. Because did you take her to the church?
I did. And
Yeah.
she remembers that because I used to give her a coloring book and we had a deal. If she didn't act a fool in the meeting, I would take her across the street
Hot mama.
and she would get this nastiest smelling, breath overtaking
Pickled sausage.
pickle.
Oh my God.
And it was red hot. And so she'd be like, "I'm ready for my hot mama." And we'd go over to the store and we'd get her a hot mama and maybe some Cheetos, which she was very stingy with. If you ask her for a chip in the car, she'd find the smallest one in the bag and she'd be like, Here. And she'd be like, "Do you want another one?" And I'd be like, "No, it's okay." But yeah, that was the deal. And she met Jen, who's going to be on our show in 2 weeks.
That'll be a good episode.
It's going to be a great episode.
Yeah, love Jen.
Yeah.
So-
Tell me from your perspective, what did you notice? Was it just, this is the way my life is? Or did you notice a difference like you did being so protected with?
I was actually in AA since she was 5.
Yeah.
So
It was the norm.
it was the norm. She knew
Yeah.
my first sponsor. She even did a report on him in school because you had to do something on somebody in World War II. I have pictures of them.
Yeah.
We always sent him her sports card. Like Jen, the girl we're talking about, my litter mate for 29 years, she would give us Portland Fire tickets for years.
Oh, wow.
And Cassandra and I would go to free games, and Cassandra would get chosen every time we went in because she'd have her hair braided and she was cool. And we'd go to the autograph party. She got to meet the Blazers. She got to go on the court.
Wow.
And it's
I got to
nothing.
touch Arvidas Sabonis' hand. Still to this day, he's one of my favorite.
And Rasheed
Blazer
Wallace
players.
waved to her when she screamed his name. Yeah.
And me and Bonzi Well have the same mole right here.
Oh my God.
Right above the lip.
You don't say.
Yes.
It was honestly good memories. And like the first Blazer game we ever went to, we went to the Fire before the Blazer, Scottie Pippen was playing. And there was this big fat dude behind us. And he's complaining about Scottie Pippen the whole game. It was so annoying listening to his mouth, right? And Scottie Pippen hits a 3-pointer to take us into overtime. And Cassandra turns around and she's like, "That's why we got him." And everybody smiled. He sat down. And he shut up. Yeah. It was,
Schooled him.
Yeah, I remember the first game we ever went to was Utah Jazz when Stockton still played because Stockton was Nanny's favorite
yeah.
basketball player of all time.
So a lot of good stuff, man.
Yeah. But yeah, it was the normal. The one thing I really appreciate, there's a lot of things I appreciate, but my mom never hid her recovery or her past from a very young age.
But I didn't explain it. I'm going to tell you.
Exactly.
I would be like, I got in big trouble, right? I
Yeah.
wouldn't go into, how do you explain to an 8-year-old kid that you were involved in the escort service?
Yeah.
That's ugly. Right. And so I would just say, yeah, I got in big trouble,
Yeah.
you know.
Going to AA, knew why we were going there, not specifically, but
He didn't explain. Just, we talked about being sober. But how do you explain to a kid you were an IV drug user? It's not something you tell you.
What was your conception of the group and why these people were here? And it was just Mama does this and I get to play coloring book and
yeah, I think it was just she got in trouble and AA was somewhere she could go so she would never go back to that. It was to keep her moving forward and not going back to big time, not little time prison. So that's the way I took it.
It's hard to explain these things to a child that doesn't know this. You know what I'm saying? Life was different. If my mother would have said she was going to AA, I would have been like, A fucking men. I didn't know what AA was, but if she would have stopped drinking when I was little, I would have been really happy.
Yeah.
So I always say this, and it doesn't matter what gets you there, but I am so grateful for Alcoholics Anonymous and for a group of gay men that let me stay at their meeting. Owe them everything, you know?
Yeah. Well, you're giving back, as we talk about, even
Yeah.
in many ways, in so many ways, but in the,
Yeah.
in doing these shows, you know.
So you had a great childhood.
Yeah.
Thank you, because I always tell you
Yeah.
that means a lot to me.
It's just, I grew up with a lot of structure. You grew up with being taught good morals, knowing right from wrong. Just the environment. We lived in Beaverton. It's like when we moved out here, I think I moved out here in Southeast like a year after my mom. It was a culture change. Going from Beaverton, it's so clean. Obviously, the homeless population and drug addiction has gotten a lot worse in 15 years, from 15 years ago. But still, if you go out to Beaverton, the only time I ever go out there anymore is to get my hair done by my hairdresser because she works right by Jesuit High School. But you don't see any trash on the ground. There's
You don't
probably
see homeless people.
You don't see homeless people.
And if they're tweaking, they're doing it in their house because they got enough money. It's not on the corner.
Yeah.
I'm
like
just saying.
the Nike headquarters is
I
out
think
in Beaverton.
Beaverton's could be related to for me, Bellevue was in Seattle. Bellevue was the yuppie.
Yeah.
Seattle might have Portland kind of atmosphere. Bellevue was like the Beaverton. you know?
Yeah. I went to public school, but like my mom said, it was pretty bougie for a non-private school. Great
We went
education.
to the same high school.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, when she was 4, my mother's being a little judgmental, or a lot. We lived at Villa de Clara Vista on Northeast 53rd and Cully because that's where that lady was the manager of the apartments, right?
Oh, okay.
And my mother came over and she looked around and she looked at me and all she had to do was give me the look. But she said, "Is she going to school here?" And I looked around. I never really thought about it. And I looked around and I moved to Beaverton. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Opened your eyes.
Yeah. She honestly, at that time, she was the only blonde-haired, blue-eyed kid. And would that have been an opportunity for her? And again, I want to protect you. So we moved out to Beaverton and my mother was helpful. Plus, we stayed with Cassandra's grandfather for a couple of years and that was really nice too. That was while I was getting sober. So it was really good. And the other thing about that, which was good, is I never fucked off in Beaverton. I was more scared of my mother than the police. All of my criminality was downtown, like, period. Because it was when I went to college. But, so Beaverton was a safe place for me, and I never ran into anybody I knew. Ever. Not even an accidental at the grocery store. Nobody was ever in Beaverton.
Nice.
So that was nice. It was really nice.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
this is too emotional, tell me, but I'm curious, when your father passed, were you aware of what happened, or what age were you when that happened?
It's crazy that our dads died the exact same year. Yours was 15. Mine was 16. Mine was my junior year, summer going into my junior year.
Like, how does that happen? 2 kids, 2 only children, right? Raised by single moms. My dad died when I was 15, and her dad died right after she turned 16.
Wow.
And it was a shock to me because Michael was healthy, and I had said something. He had missed coming to the house a few times, or appointments with her, which wasn't the norm.
So he was involved in your
Whole
life
life.
to a certain
Yeah.
To a lot.
Yeah. I would go to his house on the weekends. If I didn't want to, I didn't have to. I never saw my dad fucking up. Like when my dad was dipping and doing the things that he wasn't supposed to be doing. That's another blessing I have in my life. I've never seen either of my parents high or caught in addiction.
Michael knew better.
Yeah.
He knew I would know.
Yeah.
No, seriously. And
If I was Michael, I'd be like, no way. I know what's coming.
he actually was a little bit different than that. So when he started fucking up, I said to him, Michael, you're missing appointments. I said, do you need to go back to treatment? That's what I said to him. And he goes, why do you say that? I said, do I ask you for money? Do I call your house? Because I didn't. I wasn't like that. And he said no. And he goes, you're always honest with me. And I said, you need to go back to treatment. And he did. We
visited him.
Yeah, we brought his Christmas presents there. He went back to treatment at VOA on MLK. Treatment wasn't popular like it is now. There wasn't as many places. And he had to wait to get in. And literally, Cassandra's basketball, I remember this like clockwork. Her last basketball game of the season against Aloha High School, her dad got signed out of treatment by his sponsor. They came to the game. And he was super loud because I told him, you're too loud, don't sit by me. And because he was screaming for Cassandra. And Cassandra hit three-pointers in the first 2 minutes of the game. She was showing off for him, and he was loving it. And we whooped Aloha's ass in that game. And it was last game of the season. And it was the last time we saw him.
Oh.
Yeah. And I was really grateful because we also had moved into a house all of her high school years. We got a house, and I had told him, look, I had just had another surgery. And I was like, can you go get the electronic equipment and everything set up? And him and Cassandra painted their bedroom, her bedroom.
Pepto-Bismol pink.
It was supposed to be purple. It was supposed to be sunset purple, and it was the ugliest color you ever.
Pepto-Bismol pink. Ooh.
It was disgusting. Okay, and she loved it. But yeah, but I remember that game. I'll never forget that game.
And then I lost my nan
The year before.
Yeah, so back to back, and I was really sad about my dad dying. But I took my Nana's death a lot harder because she was my
everything
best
she
friend.
was not to me. Everything.
Yeah.
She was at every game she played at. Even 3 weeks before she died, knowing she has cancer, she's at her game. Yeah. She took her to Disneyland. When I was in prison, they went to Hawaii. They went to Canada on all my money. But I'm just saying.
Was she maybe making up for?
She stopped drinking at 55.
Okay.
Because she got Graves' disease and she couldn't drink with the medication. And Cassandra was everything. Cassandra didn't. I got back at her. I didn't really care, to be honest with you, because of the stuff she had done or putting her hands on me. Just all the stuff. I just wanted away from her when I went to college. I wanted nothing to do with her. And it started with her taking Cassandra on Wednesday nights for her day off. And then she took her when I went to prison.
Yeah.
It's a big thing.
That is.
And I forgave her for a lot of things because of that. But I still didn't like her. I loved her because she was my mom. I loved her because of Cassandra. But I didn't like her. And she was mean to me. Cassandra will tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I could do no wrong.
Exactly. Yeah.
But when she tells me stories about my nan from when, I just can't believe it's the same person.
My mother would never put her hands on Cassandra.
She got me this nice bike, this fat boy. It was a trick bike. She was a bartender, and so she had a good set of clients.
A great set of clients.
And these clients, John Cook bought how many Girl Scout cookies?
Tom Cook.
Oh, Tom Cook. Yeah, bought.
My
I
mother
was the top seller in cookie sales.
My mother
every
sold
year.
the most Girl Scout cookies for years. When she died, I told Cassandra, "You're gonna have to do some work this year."
Yeah. And then I got the actual worn Scottie Pippen Bulls jersey. I still have it to this day.
Larsa Pippen was married to Scottie Pippen when they lived here for the Blazers. She was in my mother's bar. And my mother got an authentic Scottie Pippen shirt
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. And we had, because of her clients, she's a bartender in Beaverton, bougie clients, and she was the belle of the ball, okay? She had more boyfriends than I've ever had in my whole entire life. But her clients would be like, oh, we're going to be out of town. Here's Blazer tickets. Here's this, here's that. Like,
Yeah.
The perks.
yeah, the perks of my mother being a bartender was amazing. And she'd give us tip money every weekend, and we'd go to the market, the farmer's market.
Yeah.
Cassandra would buy a $3 pair. And my nan gave me money. I'm spending my money this way.
Yeah. So when it comes to my own story,
Yeah.
like drugs and addiction, like with my mom going through it, my dad, I obviously come from two alcohol addictive sides of the family.
Yeah.
My mom's always been very
Clear about that.
clear about that and very honest to a T at that time about her wrongdoing, my dad dying from a drug overdose,
Yeah.
me having a good childhood. You just, in hindsight, you wouldn't think that would be in the deck of cards for me.
Yes. Because you're in recovery.
Yeah.
Not even so much that, but I thought, this is what I thought. I thought I could protect her from all that.
Right.
I literally did. Okay. I thought I could protect her and fix everything. A little codependent, learned that in IOP. And it really wasn't until Dawn, my sponsor, Cassandra's now, she's drinking. I didn't know she was using, okay? But she's drinking, and I would tell her, you're born of two addictive parents. I've said it to her many times. And I was like, you have to be careful of these things. Thinking, again, I can protect her. I've always been in AA. You've been there, right? No, you can't learn their lessons for them. And that's a lesson I had to learn, okay? A
hard
lesson.
Yeah.
And, when I learned it is literally that day when I said something to you about the cars. Yeah. And we got in a huge argument. But I'm going to let you tell your drinking part.
Let's hear this.
I think it all started in college. That's when I started smoking weed. So I drank one time in high school. I went over to one of my friend Natalie's at the time, and her mom was out of town, and she was having all these people over. Obviously, no parents are there.
I've been to those kind of parties.
Yeah, my friend Maureen at the time, her sister was over 21. So yeah, this was when we were 16. So all of us pitched in some money for the sister to get a bottle. Still remember Bacardi Superior
Wow.
rum.
Living the high life.
Yeah, we're at 16. And I took, maybe 12 shots in an hour and a half for my first time. 16, never drank alcohol.
Oh my God.
Didn't know any better.
Didn't know.
my God.
Because I felt it doesn't hit you until later or a little bit down the road. So I'm like taking a shot thinking I'm going to feel it right away. And I don't feel anything. Oh, let's have another one. And at this point in time, there's people all over the house stumbling around and I'm trying to help them. I am not feeling it yet. And I end up blacking out in the bathroom. I passed out by the toilet in the bathroom, and I came to with someone, a dude that I knew, because I was blocking the toilet. And so he was literally peeing over me to be able to use the bathroom. So I come to.
What a glamorous life.
Yeah. And I guess I'm talking to a couple people because I don't remember a lot of the night. And someone told me I passed out on my back and I started throwing up while I'm on my back. And if someone wasn't there to turn me over, I basically could have died. I could have choked on my own vomit.
Totally.
And I was just so embarrassed as far as someone having to take care of me like that. And so it really scarred me. I didn't drink again until college. And
I didn't know.
Yeah.
You didn't know this happened.
No, I actually thought that she made it through high school without drinking and without having sex. I was so proud of that, right? I didn't know. The biggest crime she did in high school was she called me one night and she's like, I'm going to be late. I already know I'm grounded, because they were following the softball coach and they wanted to figure out where he lived. And they were waiting outside the athletic club, hiding behind Cassandra's car. And they had been there so long they couldn't leave. But she's like, I'm calling you to let you know I'm okay. I already know I'm grounded.
It's worth it.
But it's worth it.
That's too much.
And so going to college or in high school, I had an identity, a purpose. I was the sports girl. I was the basketball girl. I got along with everybody, the Hispanics, the African Americans, white. It didn't matter. I had friends from basketball. I had friends from water polo. I had the same Girl Scout troop from second grade until 12th grade. So 10 years with the exact same girls.
Wow.
And then I... freshman basketball coach was the varsity softball coach. I'd never done softball before, and it was a no-cut sport. And I hurt my knee at this time. I dislocated my knee, and I was on crutches. And he told me, he was like, if you want to play softball, he's like, it's a no-cut sport. So if you've never played before, once your knee heals, we have a place for you on the team.
Oh.
Yeah. And so then I started softball for the first time in high school.
Which I asked her for about 10 years, do you want to play softball?
Because she always says I was built like a softball
She's built
player.
like a softball player. And then the coach asked her, and she's like, oh, I'm playing softball. And I'm like, we're playing softball?
Yeah.
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 And so I always felt like I belonged, no matter where I was. Like I was very comfortable. And so I went to a bougie school. So when it came to college, a lot of these kids were privileged enough to go to school or go off to universities.
NYU, Stanford,
Yeah.
University of Oregon.
Yeah.
And I'm a single parent.
Yeah.
And look I don't have Stanford money.
Right.
Yeah.
And we were in that bracket where I made enough to not get help for anything. We never got food stamps or anything like that. But I didn't make enough to send you there.
Right.
And I paid her college payments on a payment plan. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. So a lot of my friends could afford to go to four-year colleges, didn't have to worry about working, where their parents could just pay for it and they could just focus on school. And I didn't know what I wanted to do at that point in time either. So I thought it was smart. I didn't feel like I was without. I wanted to go to community college to figure out what I wanted to do, get my basic credits down. And then once I figure out what I want to do, then I can transfer to a PSU or a four-year college.
We signed her up for the dual school program. So we went and met with the Portland State counselor, again, my school. But I paid $500. So her credits automatically transferred to Portland State. They said it was the smartest, most economical thing to do anyway, was to get all her little credits done, right? And then when she did know what she wanted to do, to go down to Portland State. So that was the game plan originally.
Sounds good.
So going to college, I lost that sense of identity. Like all my friends are away in college and I'm basically starting over with a new environment, new people.
Travis.
Yeah, Travis, who's still one of my really good friends to this day. But that's probably one of the summer going into college, I got really skinny. I wanted to look good for college. I worked at Subway, and Subway was in the same little strip mall as Bally Total Fitness.
Okay.
And so I would get free lunches from Subway, which is relatively healthy. I would go after work or before work to the gym. And then I was tanning.
You were looking fine.
Yes, I was ready to impress people at college. But yeah, I met some of my friends to this day, and that's when I started smoking weed. I smoked weed for the first time. My friend Travis, his brother was out of town, and he was like, I don't know if he was house sitting or if he just had the key to his house. And it's so funny because we watched the movie Friday, and it happened to be a Friday, and I'm getting high for the first time watching
Peter, have
Friday.
you ever even seen Friday?
I don't think I have.
Oh.
Is it Freaky Friday?
No.
That's a different
No. It's Friday with Chris Tucker, Ice Cube, and his name is Craig, and he gets fired on his day off. Who the fuck gets fired on your day off? Anyway, the whole movie is weed. That's where bye, Felicia. You know how everybody says that? Felicia's in the movie. Okay, Felicia, that's how they came up with bye, Felicia, because they would tell her, bye, Felicia, because she was always trying
to pester.
Yeah, and she wanted to smoke the weed with them.
Yeah, and borrow their cars. And
It's a
stuff
funny
like that.
movie,
Yeah.
and it's a hysterical movie, actually.
So my friend Travis, he rolls a spliff, which is half tobacco, half weed. So, because I was nervous for my first time, I didn't want to get too high. So he rolled like half tobacco, half marijuana. And then we're watching this movie, getting high for the first time, and I'm cracking up. Like I've seen this movie at this point in time probably like at least 15, 20 times. And it was just like...
With her dad, first of all.
Yeah. And it was just such a good time. And I just felt, again, like I kind of found my people.
Yeah.
Felt like I belong with someone.
I like Travis, just so you know. I loved Travis. I still love Travis.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's married and has 3 kids now.
Darn it. No.
Yeah.
Look I wanted him to be the son-in-law. He's 6 what?
6'3".
And I figured between him and Cassandra, I got some basketball
Maybe
kids.
6'5", actually.
Yeah, I think he's taller than 6'3". Yeah.
Yeah, 6'5". Yeah, but he also played basketball. And we met each other, and the first time we met each other, we met him through my friend Natalie. Natalie's the one that I had the party with when I was 16 years old, and her mom was out of town.
And guess who didn't like Natalie?
Yeah. So I met Travis through Natalie because they had the writing or a reading class together at PCC, and we went for a bowling event. Just went out. And he was wearing a Gonzaga shirt, and I was wearing a Gonzaga shirt. And it was just like love at first basketball. I was like, that's my team, because I went to a summer camp in high school at Gonzaga. It was a big deal to be chosen or asked to go to this basketball camp.
She went to OSU, too. She was so... Yeah.
So that's when I started to smoke marijuana. And then... drinking, the hardest I've ever gone with drinking is probably from 19 to 21. Basically, once I turned 21, I was kind of over it at that point in time. Yeah, you get to go to the bars, and I was never one of those people that had a fake ID and stuff like that. But 19 to 21, I drank a lot. This is with Heather and Jake and Isaac. I was moved out of my mom's house at that point in time. I moved out when I was 18. So again, I have that, because I had that structure and all that control for so many years. It was like kind of my time to go a little buck wild without. And then that's when I
became an operations manager.
Yeah.
And started working. I waited to even apply for that position. I was told to do it 3 times, but I waited to apply to that position until she went to college.
Okay.
Yeah, because I didn't have
know
to.
what your schedule would be.
Yeah, I didn't have to. She drove. She had her own car.
Yeah.
So it was the first time I could. And I moved out of the house and got a roommate so we could pay for her first year of school. Mm-hmm. That was an adventure.
So I went a little buck wild in college. So I drank a lot, smoked a lot of weed, but I was always like, they call it a functional alcoholic or a functional. I never drank and smoked before work. I never, actually at Sprint, I did smoke weed in the parking lot a couple times, like during lunch. That's when, Ricky Bobby and everybody came into play, but...
who also got fired on his day off.
But I guess as soon as I was a supervisor and I actually had to be responsible for a group of people, like I'm their boss, I have to watch their metrics and their performance. I would only drink on the weekends. I wasn't drinking until 3 o'clock in the morning and like coming to work hungover.
Were these like rules that you kind of set up for yourself to tell yourself? Like for me, I set up all these rules because in my mind, that meant that I didn't have any issues. I didn't have a problem because I wasn't doing the things that
I never thought
problems,
I had a problem at that point in time.
Yeah.
Like, especially when you're in your 20s, like, you just think that's the norm. That's the thing that you do.
I actually never thought she had a problem then either.
Yeah.
Because I would have said something, thought it was just regular shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she.
during those college days in my own journey, everybody else was the same. So
Yeah.
Well, and she
I was
got
just
promoted.
like everybody else. You know?
She got promoted there from agent to training bay to team lead to supervisor on her own. She didn't work with me. So I think you're doing okay.
Right. Yeah.
And if Mike Estes hires you, shit.
Yeah.
He's the man.
And I had God on my side so many times. Like I said, when I wasn't even asking for it, he just blessed me. Like, I can't even tell you how many times I drank and drove and I didn't remember the next day. You know?
I can't tell you how many times I said, don't drink and drive.
Yeah.
Right.
No, more than most parents.
Yeah.
Text me when you get there. Text me when you get back. Obsessed.
Yeah.
And I've lived near her. She lived 1.5 miles away at Charles's house. She's always lived close, and I saw you. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
For
Yeah.
me, that would have been the authority that I would be like, I was anti-authority. So you tell me not to do something?
Yeah.
Hell no, I'm going to do what I do.
And this is when we still lived far. This is when I was with my first boyfriend, and I lived in Beaverton still, and my mom had already moved out to Southeast.
Okay.
So this is when we didn't live. This is probably the farthest that
We ever lived, yeah.
that we had in between us. But yeah, I remember I went to this house party one time at Heather's, and the cops got called by one of the neighbors, and I hopped the fence in the backyard. Literally almost everybody at this party got MIPs, minor in possessions, and again, didn't get anything. I literally hopped the fence. I broke my bong in my gym bag on the way down. Damn it. I know. I broke the base of it, and it was Duke Blue too. It was really cute. And then there was another time I went to a house party, and this one girl, she invited us back to her place for an after party, and she's like, my sister's not there right now, and we can go to my house. And this is me, my friend Heather, Jake, Isaac at the time. I'm driving in my car, and her sister apparently was home, and she didn't know that. And her sister called the cops and told us we needed to leave. I've never told you this story. But then
I'm learning lots.
we left the house, and as soon as I turned on the car, sirens. He was literally parked behind my car.
Oh, crap.
And I'm drunk.
Oh, crap.
But there's something that happens to me, like, when I'm drunk and cops, like, I act sober. I'm not sober, but I put myself together to try to be on my P's and Q's and not act like I'm as drunk as I am. And then he tells me to get out of the car, and I actually do a sobriety test. He's asking me to follow. He has a pen, and he's asking me to follow the pen with my eyes. And luckily, he didn't ask me to do the walk in a straight line, because I couldn't walk on a straight line on a good day not sober, okay? Right. But I passed the test. Wow. I passed the test, and I'm drunk as fuck.
Lucky or not, but...
Yeah. And there was another time I went to another house party when I lived with Monica. That was the first girl I moved out with.
Who I didn't like.
Yeah. And
for many reasons.
Yeah. I was driving, and the freeway exit that I was supposed to get off to go on the on-ramp came a lot sooner than I thought it was. So I swerved in order to not miss the on-ramp. It wasn't, I was drunk, but it wasn't because at that point in time I was drunk. I was literally trying to get off the ramp, and I got pulled over. And again, have been drinking. I'm still under 21. I would have been 18, 19 at this point. And he asked me if I had been drinking. And I told him yes. So I'm literally telling him that I've been drinking. And I said I only had 2 shots of alcohol. I had a lot more than 2 shots. So I was being honest, but I was lying at the same time.
Yeah.
And he's
A little
like,
partial truth there.
yeah. And he's asking me how far I have to go. And this is true. I literally just had to get off the next exit to get home. And my roommate, Monica, she was in the passenger seat. And he let me go. I think just because I was honest and I told him the truth that I actually was drinking.
That shit never happened to me.
And he...
I could have been...
I had the same experience where...
You know why, though, too? And this is true, and this is where she's blonde hair, green eyes, right?
Blue eyes.
Blue, yeah, that's what I meant. But I definitely know they're blue. But, me... I'm with a black person in the car and I'm getting pulled over just because, you know what I'm saying? Seriously, that happened to me 3 times in the car with Jonathan. And I'm like, why are we getting pulled over? And luckily, I'm not drunk. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, and what does that say? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah.
In my case, just the only thing I had going for me was being white, but...
And you look like Skippy. Come on now.
I don't know about that, but...
You do. You still look like that in a good way, meaning you look preppy and professional. And that goes a long way. Yeah. And I know that now. You know what I'm saying? Right. And there's some things I got away with when I was younger because of that. But I'm just saying it's crazy.
No, one time I think I just ran a red light or something and the cops pulled me over and I'd been drinking. And they were going to have me get out and do the whole bit. And another car going the other way swerved and crashed into the curb and hit a post.
So you were...
And they're like, here's your stuff. Got to go. And I was like, holy crap. I thought I was going to be done for sure. Yeah. DUI.
This guy he rolled a car. Yeah. Remember you told me when you got in an accident.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was years later. I was in Chicago.
Yeah, but I
didn't roll it, but I was going down the Dan Ryan, and I was trying to fiddle something.
Ryan is a street or a dude?
No, it's a highway, a freeway. The I-90, I think, is the freeway number. And at that point, I was drinking. I'd get home from work, I would drink till I passed out. Mm-hmm. So I had drank however long, passed out, and I had to go to work the next day. So I don't know if I was still drunk or just the hangover from it. I probably was a little bit of both. Yeah, and then I went up on a medium and broke the axle. And
since he's told me this.
But you got in no criminal trouble.
My car
over
was
it.
Like going up and bump, 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 bump as I crossed 4 lanes of freeway in rush hour to get off at the next exit. And then
so guess what this story's done to me?
Huh.
Peter, do we have to be in the fast lane by the middle thing? Can we stay in the middle, Peter? I'm schizo now about it. You know how I am. Yeah. But I'm like, Peter, we don't have to be in the fast lane by the middle thing. We can go in the medium. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so funny.
He did luck out.
Yeah. A lot of times. Like I said, God was looking over me, and maybe I needed some of those timeouts, and I could have figured it out a little bit sooner. It might have been a little bit of a wake-up call.
I think you're just being young.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, you don't think of it like in your 20s. Again,
and you're indestructible in your 20s.
Yeah, but I was still responsible. I was I rented a room, or I paid for rent. I always had a job. I literally had a job from 18 to 32 without a break in between. Anytime I got a new or left an old job, I had a job lined up. Right. So literally I'm working from 18 to 32 the entire time.
And I will say, making progress in every career move.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got, like she said, I got promoted 5-6 different times when I worked at Sprint in 3 years.
Do you think that you pushed yourself harder because you were overcoming the drinking and what you were going through? I feel sometimes
what I think? I think it's hard to be my daughter as well. No, seriously. In the same company, your mom is the big boss, right? And even though I had nothing to do with her at work, nothing.
meaning it would be a conflict of interest. And sprint was, and she only got to sprint because Subway promoted her and they put her on graveyard shift. And I couldn't sleep. And I was like, we're not doing this anymore. You can come to sprint in the summer and then they'll mold your schedule to your school schedule in the fall. Because if you had a school schedule, we would honor it.
Oh, nice.
I did it for a lot of people. Alex, that did our show, I sent him home to work so he could get his degree at Portland State. No. But so that's how she got to sprint, was because I was literally turning gray from lack of sleep because she was tired. She's working graveyard, and I'd see her and I'd be like, Cassandra. And I was paranoid that you're having my blonde-haired, blue-eyed, beautiful child work graveyard for a 10-cent raise.
Oh my God.
I was losing my mind. Yeah, I literally was losing my mind over it. And I was like, we can't do this anymore. It's not working for me. I was schizo about it. Yeah. But I do think, though, there is some pressure at that particular environment to do good. Because a little bit.
Yeah, and I just think it's...
You're like that.
I'm just... Because of sports, I've always been a very competitive person. I've always wanted to be the best of the best or the top of whatever I do. That's something, like, even when I went to another chance, like, I wanted to be like one of the best students. I was one of the ones that wasn't fucking off as far as missing class all the time. I was going to class all the time. That's thrive.
Me too. I'm like that too.
I've just always wanted to be
we're overachievers.
Yeah. I just my work ethic. She instilled a very good work ethic in me. And that's something that I've just always strived for. And yeah, like the drinking was just kind of just what to do on the weekends. You know what I mean? Like I've always, at that point in time, before I knew it was a problem, I was always just a very social drinker. Like going out, having people over for Blazer games, like, oh, they just won the game, let's take a shot. It wasn't...
she thinks she's the karaoke queen.
Yes. Literally, that was one of me and my best friend's favorite... We still do it sober. Going to the bars and doing karaoke. So I was always a social drinker. It wasn't because I was trying to deal with problems that were having or going on in my life, or numbing the pain from something and not dealing with it, or having resentments and using that to cope with.
When do you think that changed?
Yeah, I'm curious.
Me too. Look, because I don't know. Me too.
So when I was 32, I got sober May of 2024.
Okay.
That's when I went to another chance. But before then, I worked at a company called Spectrum, and it's a internet and cable service.
Okay.
It was a call center, so just like Sprint, it's something I've always done and something I was good at. I got hired in as a supervisor.
Nice.
So it's basically picking up from where I left off at Sprint. I ended as a supervisor before the T-Mobile merger happened and we lost our job.
Right.
And that was the first time I ever did a salary job. And I was working nonstop.
We know, huh, Peter? We know.
Yeah, this was during COVID, so they kind of needed someone to start right away. And most of these people that were supervisors, the same level, they started out as agents taking phone calls. And then basically like the same ladder that I went through at Sprint. You started out taking phone calls. I was a team leader. I was a training bay coach. And so all of these people had these knowledge. They knew the computer system. They didn't do me justice when it came to training me. So then when I became a supervisor, I was just always behind. And they also put me on what's called the executive escalation team, which is basically if our clients or customers go to the Better Business Bureau and make complaints about our customers, about our company, then I was a part of a team that had to take those phone calls and try to resolve their issues after they already went to the Better Business Bureau.
Oh.
So these are like the nastiest people that are already pissed off, and I had to deal with these people and try to calm them down. And I was salary, and I always felt like I was behind, and so we had work laptops, and so on my 2 days off, I was always behind from my regular 5-day work week. So on at least 1 out of my 2 days off, I'm trying to catch up from the week before.
Wow.
So I'm basically living to work at this point in time.
Yeah.
It just really took a toll on my mental health.
She was really unhappy.
Yeah. And my boyfriend at the time made decent money. And my game plan was, I told him, and again, I've worked from 18 to 32. At this point in time, I feel like I deserve a break from work.
She has her own house.
Yeah.
She bought her house during this time.
Yeah.
Because she's got this good job. Her work history is excellent.
Yeah.
Her credit is good. She bought her own condo.
I have my own car.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I told my boyfriend at the time, I was like, I need a break from work. So we had this game plan of me taking 3 months off of work, and then he would pay the bills and stuff like that for those 3 months. And during those 3 months, this is the first time I don't have responsibilities. I don't have anything to hold me accountable as far as my drinking and my smoking weed. This is like, I felt like I was free. And
can we just say, let's be a little honest, and I won't say his name. I'll protect his anonymity. But this particular boyfriend had a lot of opportunities. There's my polite version. Mm-hmm. And this person didn't work a real job. Mm-hmm. Money came easy. Illegal money does. And yeah. So it's easy when you hang out with those people. I know personally. I didn't
So you
ever
kind of got into that environment.
Yeah, I never
Making
set
it-
out to go to work for the escort service. I had friends in it that got me in, and
Yeah.
I'm going to go to the ballet. I'm going to go to dinner with you. Yeah.
Yeah. I've had a bad history when it comes to guys. My first boyfriend that I had, I started
Why do you
dating.
think that is?
I don't know. You think it's because I have daddy issues. I don't know if that's true.
Meaning she picks guys that are not necessarily bad people, but they're not the brightest. And that reminds me of her dad. He was a good dude.
They are bright. Both of my exes are actually really smart, but do they want to do the right thing and
Do they
live
have
their
common
life
sense?
the right way
Yeah.
in order to
Succeed.
exactly. They don't do anything with that brilliance. Because so my picker is drug addicts or drug dealers. Those are my common theme for my 2 previous boyfriends.
Which kills me, right? Because you didn't have any bad influences like that really in your life. I chose her over a relationship. One time yeah.
No.
But yeah.
But my first boyfriend, I literally ran into him. He actually just got out of prison like 6 months ago for
opportunities.
Yeah. Yeah. He needed a timeout in life.
Me too.
But I ran into him at the river during one summer, and I was like asking him all, because I never got closure with that relationship. And the reason we broke up is I was doing the laundry, and at the bottom of the laundry was one of those Nike drawstring bags. And then I looked in the drawstring bag, and there was little weighed out little dime bags of product, and there was scales, and there was snort sticks, and there was just a bunch of paraphernalia.
Yeah.
And I'm 20 at this point in time. I'm so naive and I've never been around someone that's done drugs. So I couldn't tell you the signs of what someone looks like because he was a functional tweaker.
Right.
And when I met up with him, this was like 10 years after we broke up, and I saw him and I asked him if he was doing meth the entire time that we were together. And we were together for 3 years. And he said, yes, I was doing it the entire time.
And you didn't know?
I didn't know.
Wow.
And then, but the drawstring bag, I had a feeling and I just knew he was lying when he was really brilliant at cars. And he was always up until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning working on his car. But he was
He's
like
a night owl.
Yes, exactly. And he was like that. If he was doing it the entire time, he was normal at one point in time and then something changed if he was doing meth the entire time. There was no change in personality or anything like that. And then my previous boyfriend, the one that I was with for 8 years, just was selling weed, and that's when I was still smoking weed. I didn't ever have to buy weed. Right. And then I got into cocaine. Like when I took that 3-month break from work, which turned into a 1.5 years.
Wow.
I planned on only taking a 3-month break from work, and then I started drinking all the time. I was smoking weed all the time. I started doing cocaine because I didn't have responsibilities.
And he had brought it in, so it was easy access.
Yes, I never had to pay for any of it.
Yeah, it was available, easy.
Yeah. For as much coke as I did, I would have never been able to support that habit financially, but I had free access to it. Yeah. And we had a really toxic relationship. And I think that's where it really started to turn. I've always said I was a social drinker. And after I didn't work, obviously I started getting into this financial debt because I hadn't been working. He wasn't able to support the bills, and that's my fault too. I told him he only had to support the bills for 3 months. And then we're going 1.5 years later, and he started falling behind, and that's not his fault. But I just didn't have my shit together. But we were fighting all the time. We were calling each other nasty names. It got physical.
And she lied.
Yeah.
Called her mama at work. Told her mama that, I didn't know this. I knew there were fights, but she called me and said, I hurt my knee. And because she hurt her knee so many times in high school playing sports, they had said if she popped it out again, she'd probably have to have surgery. So I'm thinking like this, right? She said she twisted her knee
at the dog park, stepping in a pothole.
And she called me at work. She's only called me at work twice ever. Okay, one time when she had food poisoning in high school. And this time, and she's, I need you to take me to the hospital now. I can't walk. So I leave work and I pick up crutches on the way home because I can't lift your ass to the car. And to get her to the car and take her to the hospital. And her knee was really hurt. She couldn't really walk for 3 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know that was from them arguing.
Oh my.
Yeah. And I always started it. I always was the one to put my hands on him first. And when you're in...
Do you think that's because... Just curious. Do you think that's... Because I didn't put my hands on you except for the one time you deserved a spanking. And then I said I would never do it again, and I didn't. I would take the favorite thing. The iPod, the phone, the car, whatever it was. But do you think that's because of the drinking and the drugs?
It definitely amplified it.
Okay. Or the environment as well.
The environment as well. I think my biggest trigger thing in life, and I've gotten a lot better, is when I feel disrespected, when I haven't gone out of my way to disrespect anybody. So when you disrespect me, I see red. I turn into this other person. Yes.
And that with...
the reason why I said, is that my fault? Because...
Yeah, you don't take disrespect or bullshit from anybody.
Yeah. And I think, what I was going to say was, do you think then, because you're drinking and drugging,
yeah,
that seeing red for me, it was like amplified.
Yes.
I just go crazy.
Because you're going off of emotion at that point in time. You're not thinking rationally.
Yeah.
And
you know what? This is when I not during the injury, right? But I'm now in IOP, okay? I worked too much. My eardrum exploded, and I'm going to IOP, and I'm walking the dog. I'm just walking the dog. And the neighbors keep calling me. First, it's about the drug addict uncle staying there that ODs on our property. It's about the 6 cars parked by their unit, which goes against the rules, right? And I'm walking the dog, and there's 6 or 7 cars there. And I just got called by the HOA lady again. And I'm like, is there any chance you can park these cars on the street? I'm really tired of getting called. And I told them to call Cassandra. And she's going off, and you always... And I said, you need to get a job, right? Period. And she called me a name. And I could not believe it. I seriously could not believe it.
Is that what got you thinking, oh, maybe there's...
No, I knew she was out of her fucking mind at that time. Yeah. And she called me a bitch. And she never speaks to me disrespectfully, right? Argue maybe, but not like that. And I was like, I'm going to do you a solid right now, and I am going to walk away. And I turned around because my first instinct seriously was to slap your face. I can't believe you just called me a bitch. I'm not your bitch. I've never been that bitch to you. I've been a decent mom. How the fuck are you going to call me a bitch over you having 7 cars in front of your yard, right? Yeah. And the only thing I could say, because she went off about the cars, right? And I'm like, get a job. Do something with your life. And
did you suspect, though, then that...
I knew things were out of control, period. I didn't know about the cocaine, okay? I knew about the drinking. And I had said a couple of times, I've never drank like that. I've never blacked out drink. I've never drank and drive. And I said, every time you black out drinking, it's like overdosing in a different way. And so, no, my sponsor said to me, and I'm in IOP, and we're learning about codependency. and my sponsor says to me, do not deal with this. Leave her alone. Just leave her alone. And that's hard, okay? You live six condos down from me, right? Always close. Always see you. And so I blocked her on my phone for a while. I'm going to love you from a distance. I didn't call her. I didn't check on her. And the only way she wormed her way in my house first time was because she brought Dakota over, my god-granddaughter. And she's like, oh, little Gigi wants to see you. And I'm like, ain't that a... And I'm like, so I let her bring Gigi down to get a popsicle, but I don't really say anything. Then the next time she comes to my house, she wants to use my shower. And I'm like, why do you want to use my shower? Why? You got your own shower, right? And she's like, I've used all the hot water at my house. I've used all the hot water at the clubhouse. And in the shower is the only thing that makes me feel good. I've been hungover for a few days. And I'm like, a few days?
Like throwing up nonstop for 3 days.
And what were your thoughts?
Like when I have hangovers, I don't know, I feel like I just react differently or amplified compared to some people. At that point in time, looking back at it, I probably had alcohol poisoning.
Yeah.
But it almost felt like food poisoning, because I've had food poisoning a couple times where I'm literally throwing up and I can't keep anything down, not even water. And I'm trying to keep water down so then I'm not throwing up stomach acid because there's nothing in my stomach.
Yeah.
And
I know it all too well.
Yeah. And the only thing that would give me a little bit of relief during any of those horrible hangovers is Alka-Seltzer for some reason, and a hot shower, just having hot water run down my body and kind of soothe my stomach from temporary pain. It's the only things that make me feel okay in the moment. still is unbearable.
This was for 2 days you're using my shower.
Yeah.
And I said to her, I said, I feel like you could have died from alcohol poisoning. This is like overdosing. You're just doing it on alcohol. And again, I said, and I didn't really get on you because that doesn't work. And I'm still mad at you because you called me a bitch. Okay? And I said to her, I said, and
You
I
hadn't learned about resentments yet fully.
No, I'm going to tell you, I'm not used to being called a bitch, okay? And I've never been called the C word because I will slap you. I don't care. But no, I said, you might need to go to treatment, right? And I left her alone again, right? And then she said she was like really depressed. And I said, you have no structure, right? I said, that might work for your boyfriend, but I don't think that's your norm. And I said, why don't we make one goal this week? And the first goal was to get her food stamps, right? Because she doesn't have any money. And again, because my sponsor said, you're not fixing this problem. And that was hard for me.
I bet.
And then the next week, I said, sign up for your
jobs.
medical card. And so she signed up for her medical card, right? So now if you need antidepressants or whatnot, you can get your meds and you have food.
Were you still using though?
Yeah.
And I didn't know, right? I'm just trying to suggest one goal without meddling.
What's that, burgundy socks?
Yeah, basically. And I'm
One
going
sock
through
at a
my
time.
own shit, Peter. We already have the podcast started at this time. I'm running a division of a company. Okay?
Yeah.
And I just got done with IOP, where for the first time I'm talking about shit that I've never talked about.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. And I really had to focus on me at that time because it was a lot. It was really a lot. Anyway, I said, maybe you should go to treatment. And one of my sponsees was at Another Chance, and it wasn't Colette, it was one of my sponsees. And Cassandra got along with them pretty well. Yeah. And I don't know what made her decide completely to go there, but she came by my house, and I think, again, she's trying to get on my good side, right? And she's like, signed up for treatment, and I was like, because I only said it one time. I didn't say you have to. I didn't say whatever. I was just like, man.
Were you tired of being sick and tired? Is that?
Yeah. I just, I didn't know I had a problem yet. I didn't think I was an addict. But I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but after going to treatment, I learned that I was, like I said, when I was a social drinker in my 20s, when I took that 3-month break off of work and I'm dealing with all of this trauma in my relationship, this mental abuse and this physical abuse, and I don't have any structure. I'm like financially in debt, thinking I'm going to lose my place. I was using drugs and cocaine, alcohol, and marijuana at that point in time to cope with not dealing with the problems.
Right, to escape.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when I was in my 20s, that was when I was drinking and stuff like that. I never used it for those types of things, but all of these things. And then I also felt like a shitty daughter because you've heard it in the podcast so many times. My mom doesn't mess with people that are actively using.
Right.
And at that point in time, I'm actively using. And not only am I drinking, I'm doing narcotics that she thought, especially after my dad died from a drug overdose.
Yes.
Never in this world would she think that it would ever come to that. So I was ashamed and I was embarrassed. And that's when I didn't want to be around her not because of her, because of me. And I didn't want her to know, because she's good at spotting people that are not doing the right things.
Right.
My pupils being dilated or something like that.
I literally didn't see her for months, though.
Yeah. And it's because...
Thank God for Dawn.
No.
No, seriously, because I also think ignoring her made her realize that my mom's not fucking with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not only did she not want to be around me, I didn't want to be around her, not for the same reasons. Not because she was the problem, but because I was the problem.
Right.
And that also took a toll on my mental health and my depression, because we've always been really close. She's an only child. I'm an only child. My grandma's passed away at this point in time. My dad's passed away at this point in time. My dad's side of the family's crazy, and I don't associate with that side of the family. Right. My mom's side of the family, like, all lives in different states. So we've just always been really close, like each other's best friends. To not have that relationship, and I also felt really guilty because I knew she was struggling. I knew she was going through a lot of medical issues, and you would think that your one and only child would be there for you to support you. And because I was so caught up in my own addiction, weighed heavily on me too. I'm not there when she needs me the most, and I'm not doing the right things, and I'm not doing anything that she would be proud of.
Yeah.
I didn't trust you at that time, though.
Yeah.
I will say that. And I've always trusted her the most. She doesn't go, she's just been very trustworthy. If I loan her $50 and I ask for it back, she pays me back. If I can afford to give it to her, I give it to her. But this is when I'm getting MRIs on my face from my eardrum exploding. And I had an MRI, and because I puked in Providence in the tube, right? I had to have somebody take me the second time because they were going to give me Xanax or something to calm me down. And I asked her, would she take me, right? And then I said, nah. And Dawn said, I'll take you. And she calls after I'm done the MRI and is like, sorry, I forgot this. And I'm like, it's okay. I didn't count on you anyway. Mm-hmm. And it was things like that. And at this time, I am going through it medically. Mm-hmm. Okay, I don't know what's wrong with my face.
Right.
And this is when I knew you. Right. And this is when Dawn really earned my trust like no other. And at that time, she would ask, what are you doing? I'll be with Dawn. That was my automatic answer.
So all of these things are going on in my life. It's out of control. There's chaos. I just feel like I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do, but I know I need to change, you know? And when my mom suggested treatment, I was like, I don't have a job right now. At this point in time, I still don't know I have a problem. But I want to go to treatment because I just need a change. Nothing could be worse than what I'm doing right now in my life. And so I go to and I'm also going to be honest, I didn't go to treatment I did need a change, but because I was so financially in the gutter at this point in time, I really did think I was going to lose my house. I was at this point in time maybe 6 or 7 months behind on my mortgage.
Wow.
And so I also heard that another chance helps you out with your rent they work with OHP or whatever, where they could help you out with some assistance.
Right.
So that also was a motivator because I was really scared I was going to lose my place. So I go to treatment. I do the first day. They ask you what your story is and how many days do you want to go to treatment. If you want intensive, which is 5 days a week, or I guess if you don't feel like you have that much of a problem, or maybe if you have a job, you can go 2 to 3 days a week. I didn't have a job, so I said, I'll go 5 days a week. And
during that process, I'm just curious. It's your. It sounds like they're presenting it as your choice. Like,
yes.
What do you want to do?
Because she's not in trouble.
Yes.
But did they kind of guide you along?
Yeah.
In that regard, I'm just.
They give
curious.
you their suggestions, but they leave it up to you as far as this is your recovery.
Okay.
Like,
that's cool.
You need to figure out like how much help you need. So I think they probably suggest 5 days a week to everybody. And then if you think you don't have that big of a problem, you could lower it.
Because I know, like, in the beginning for me,
Yeah.
I would have been like, I don't really have a problem just doing this so I can keep my job or whatever
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
And I would opt for the...
Dude, I only went to get
Minimum.
off parole. Slip sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious how that process...
Yeah. And I've heard John Morgan's podcast, and one thing that he talks about is like leaving it into the people's hands on like how bad they want it. Like they're there to guide you and give you suggestions, but it's up to you as far as like,
That is so true.
Yeah.
And I think it's...
treatment only, I say this all the time.
Yeah.
Treatment can get you clean.
Yeah.
Treatment can't keep you clean.
Treatment can get you clean. Treatment can't keep you clean. Nicely put, Julie. Cassandra said something in this episode that's worth sitting with, that she grew up never seeing either of her parents high, had a great childhood, and still ended up in addiction. Because addiction doesn't care how loved you are. In part 2, Cassandra picks up where things got real. Walking into treatment, not sure she even had a problem, and walking out with a life she didn't expect. She'll talk about what finally clicked, the recovery community that became her people, the healthy relationship she found along the way, and what 2 years of sobriety actually looks like. Don't miss it.
And that's a wrap on today's episode. Thanks to each and every one of you for lending us your ears and hearts. Your engagement is what fuels our passion and keeps this podcast thriving.
We cherish the moments we share here and hope they resonate with you, whether you're on a daily commute, at the gym, or just taking a moment for yourself.
Make sure to head over to our website at realrecoverypodcast.com. While you're there, subscribe to our newsletter for the latest insights and uplifting stories from our community delivered straight to your inbox.
Click that subscribe button on your favorite podcast player too, so you can keep up with every new episode. It's your support that keeps our conversation alive and meaningful.
And if our stories have touched you, consider using the donate button on our site. Your contributions, no matter the size, are deeply appreciated. They help us continue our mission of sharing hope and healing.
Join us beyond the podcast and follow our journey on social media. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, and on X, formerly known as Twitter. All the links are on our site, so you can stay connected and be a part of the Real Recovery community every day.
Your likes, shares, and comments not only spread the message of recovery, but also remind us that we're all in this together.
So, until we meet again, remember that recovery is a journey, not a destination, and we'll be here to accompany you every step of the way to recovery, real recovery.
Thanks for listening.